What if I told you that one of the most effective ways that you can use to help practice your English is already existing in your room, having no need for a teacher, for a friend, or for a partner to practice your language with? And at first, this might sound a little strange or weird, just talking in front of a mirror to nobody. But trust me, this practice of speaking in front of a mirror really helps you improve your English and it really helps you boost your confidence in the language. And no, it's not about just saying random words and standing in front of a mirror for just fun. It's not about that. It's actually about helping you boost your confidence and really train your vocals, your mouth to get used to English. And that practice, if it is done consistent over time, it really helps you stay consistent and very, very confident whenever you hold a conversation with people in real life. And trust me, this practice is remarkable. There are different ways that speaking in front of a mirror helps you build or improve your English, but one of the most effective ways is that it helps you build your confidence. You know, as English learners, as beginners, usually whenever we try to speak English, we fear that somebody might come along and mock us for the mistakes that we make whenever we try to speak English, right? Or other times we fear judgment of people. You know, it's real. Whenever we try to hold a conversation with somebody, there's some kind of fear inside us, unless we're somebody who has the boast of confidence. But normal people like you and I, whenever we try to speak with people in English, we fear judgment, we fear of being mocked, we fear of being laughed at, or other kinds of fears that we might have. But trust me, whenever you try to speak in front of a mirror, there's no judgment, there's no fear of being mocked, or there's no fear, any kind of fear. You can just freely speak to yourself and there's nobody to mock you, there's nobody to stop you because of your mistakes. And guess what happens over time as there's nobody to, drill your motivation for practice? You really help build your English. Like, you notice your mistakes, for example, over time, you see how many mistakes you make every time you speak English, or you correct your grammatical mistakes or even pronunciation mistakes or any kind of mistake that you make using English. And then you usually try to correct your mistakes on yourself and you try to notice your mistakes, these small mistakes from beginning to all the way up to the biggest mistakes that you make every time you speak English, and you try to solve these problems, solve these mistakes and get rid of them. And guess what happens over time? There would be no mistake left whenever you try to speak English. And guess what happens to your confidence? It really boosts. Like your confidence skyrockets whenever you speak English and you don't make any mistakes. So that is one of the advantages that mirror talking has. So as far as my opinion goes, make sure that you dedicate a portion of your day or set up some minutes, 10 minutes, 20, 30 or 40 or even an hour, depending on your time, to just practicing in front of a mirror. Make sure you talk to a mirror, make sure you have yourself or push yourself to speak in front of a mirror. It doesn't matter how many mistakes you make because there's nobody to blame you, there's nobody to condemn you because of your mistakes, and your confidence really skyrockets. Trust me, it's a really effective practice in helping you improve your English. And I'm a non-native English speaker and I've never been to an English speaking country. And I feel myself to be almost a confident English speaker, except sometimes that I feel fear the fear of judgment, or I have some other kinds of fears that normally a human being has, because we're human beings, we usually have these feelings. But the way that we can get rid of these feelings, the way that we can push away or destroy our weaknesses or our problems is through practice. How do we practice? The practice has methods. So one of the most effective methods that you can use to improve your English with is truly by talking in front of a mirror. If you can do that, trust me, if you can do that over time, then your English is going to be beautiful and perfect over time. Talking to a mirror has another benefit too. Like, it helps you be aware of how you look physically whenever you try to appear in public while you speak. Like, for example, we as human beings are not perfect. Like, we have a lot of flaws, a lot of shortcomings. For example, whenever you try to appear or talk to people in public outside, then you might have some weird body language or some weird facial expressions that you make, but you don't notice them. Just people around you notice these weird things that you do on a daily basis whenever you try to speak with them, but yourself, you don't notice these flaws and shortcomings that you have. However, when you try to dedicate some portion of your day by talking in front of a mirror, then you notice that you are really having some weird body expressions, some weird body language expressions that you're doing, but you don't notice them. They're unnoticeable unless you speak in front of a mirror. So guess what happens in your language usage and also in your physical visibility whenever you try to speak in front of a mirror? You start to correct yourself. You start to correct the way you speak English. You correct your grammatical mistakes, for example, you correct your pronunciation mistakes or any kind of mistake that you have or any kind of shortcoming that you have whenever you try to speak English. And also it helps you fix those problems of physical visibility. For example, you might have some kind of, like I said, a weird body language. So you can fix that whenever you try to speak in front of a mirror. And see how beautiful and how effective this practice of speaking in front of a mirror is. Trust me, if you are consistent with this practice over time, then definitely there's going to be a lot of progress, not only in terms of your English language, but also in terms of how you appear publicly. And guess what happens to your confidence overall as you fix your problems, as you fix your grammatical mistakes, English mistakes overall, and as you start to fix your physical mistakes or visible mistake that you make every day but you don't notice them, your confidence starts to grow and grow and grow, and someday you'll definitely turn into somebody who is really confident in public. And whenever you try to speak English also, you appear to be a very confident English speaker, and even at some point closer to a native English speaker. So these practices, in my opinion, really, truly, and genuinely help people become flawless. So if you, as far as I think, if you stay consistent with this practice over time, then you fix your one problem after another problem after another problem, and then at the end, what happens down the road, your language usage will be perfect. Like whenever you try to speak English, it's all perfect. Everybody is going to be, everybody around you is going to be shocked by how you speak English or how you sound whenever you try to speak English. Trust me, it's an effective practice. Make sure you dedicate a portion of your day to speaking in front of a mirror and see the magic. So if you're somebody who's trying to improve their English to become fluent, or you're having other goals in terms of your English journey, then consider adding mirror talking into your daily practice routine. Make sure you dedicate or set out a portion of your day, like 10 minutes, 30 minutes, or 40 minutes, to just speak in front of a mirror, and you'll be amazed by how unbelievable you'll get as you stick with this practice, and you'll notice how effective this practice is going to be in your English journey, and how effectively it's going to boost up your confidence in your English journey, and how effectively it's going to make you fluent in English. Trust me, stick with the process and you'll never regret it.